Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are on what I think is a really practical mission.
Yeah, this is one everyone can use.
Exactly. We've been tasked with pulling the core wisdom from a whole stack of sources that are focused purely on cognitive optimization, but not through, complicated supplements or these incredibly restrictive diets. We're looking at the simplest, most accessible foods.
We're looking for the shortcut.
Yes. The nutritional shortcut to peak performance. This whole deep dive is really customized for you, the listener, if you're someone who needs to absorb knowledge quickly or, sustain your attention during those high-stakes tasks.
Or just get through a demanding day without that afternoon crash.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
And maintain that mental edge.
That's right. And the sources you provided, they offer something, I'd say, refreshingly uncomplicated. It's a focused list. Just 6 foods that have a proven direct payoff for your brain function.
So our job isn't just to, read a list.
No, not at all. Our job is to pull back the curtain and really explain why these specific items earned a spot on the Cognitive Hall of Fame. This isn't just a shopping list.
Is it more like an operational manual?
Precisely. An operational manual for your brain's daily fuel intake.
Okay, let's unpack this right away. Before we even get to the shopping list, we have to establish this foundational truth that all the sources bring up. The brain's daily demand. It sounds so obvious.
It does.
But why is it so critical to start there? What are the sources telling us about the brain's, its operational load?
They're establishing the scale of the challenge. I mean, the source states it really plainly. The brain is a relentless 204/7 machine.
It never stops.
Never. It helps us with this crucial quartet of tasks that are just constantly running in the background. Thinking, learning, remembering, and focusing. These aren't, things you turn on and off.
No, they're continuous. They are our existence, really.
Exactly. They are continuous processes.
And crucially, that constant operational requirement means constant energy use, constant expenditure.
A huge amount.
I read that the brain is only about 2% of your body weight, but it just devours a massive amount of your total energy. Something like upwards of 20% of what you eat every day.
It's the highest demand organ in the body by far.
Wow.
And if we acknowledge that massive, consistent energy need, then we instantly get the energy equation.
Right.
If the brain is working all day on those 4 vital tasks, it requires high-quality, sustained fuel. The source makes that connection impossible to ignore. Good food gives the brain the necessary energy.
It's like that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
It's exactly that. If you put standard-grade gasoline into a Formula One engine and you ask it to perform consistently, it's just going to sputter.
Right. It's not going to win the race.
Not a chance. The same applies here. We absolutely have to provide premium fuel to maintain performance across those 4 areas.
That sets the stage perfectly. So this deep dive is designed to be a quick hit of knowledge. We're keeping it incredibly streamlined. For you listening, we're going to dive into 6 specific, powerful, and very accessible items highlighted in the source material.
The premium fuels.
They're premium fuels. We've got blueberries, nuts, eggs, fish, dark chocolate, and water. And we're going to explain the specific biological mechanism behind every single one.
Let's do it.
Let's start with foundational needs. So we've just spent time establishing this constant energy demand, right? Thinking, learning, remembering, focusing. Why is the consistency of that energy supply so vital for the brain compared to, say, your muscles or your bones?
That's a great question. The key is that the brain cannot store energy, not in the way your muscle tissue stores glycogen.
Okay, so it has no reserves.
Practically none. The brain relies almost entirely on glucose delivered right from the bloodstream, and it needs a steady, uninterrupted flow to keep all its complex electrical and chemical signals running.
So if that supply dips, even for a little bit,
If it dips, even briefly, the brain immediately prioritizes survival functions, just keeping you alive. And those higher-level cognitive tasks, the ones we care about, like learning, deep focus, critical thinking, they are the first to be curtailed.
they get shut down.
Immediately. The brain requires that external input, the food, to maintain its crucial internal performance. It's a very sensitive, moment-to-moment requirement.
So we're not just looking for a calorie boost here. We're looking for foods that ensure stability and, I guess, long-term protection against the wear and tear of that massive daily workload.
Absolutely. You've got it. We need structural components, we need steady fuel, and we need an excellent defense.
Which brings us to item number 1, the first line of defense, blueberries. The source material affectionately dubs them brain berries.
Chuckles.
Good name for them. It is. They're small, sweet, And the sources say they're incredibly healthy. And they attribute this sort of dual action to them, helping the brain stay strong and specifically protecting memory. But how does a simple berry do all that? Is it an immediate energy thing or more of a long-term defense?
It's a classic example of long-term defense through micronutrients. When the source says they help the brain stay strong, we immediately need to think about antioxidants.
Okay.
And blueberries are perhaps the most celebrated source of a class of antioxidants called anthocyanins.
Anthocyanins. Okay, that's a new word for me.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but they're basically the pigments that give blueberries that rich, dark blue-purple color.
Ah, so it's not about the sugar or the fiber, it's the color itself. The color is the signal for these protective compounds.
You've got it. That's precisely it. The brain is highly vulnerable to something called oxidative stress.
Right, I've heard that term.
Think of oxidative stress like rust on a car. It's damage caused by these unstable molecules called free radicals, which are a totally natural byproduct of the brain's relentless energy consumption.
So just by thinking, we're creating this rust.
In a way, yes. And over time, this stress, this rust, it degrades neural tissues and pathways, leading to cognitive decline and, critically, to memory impairment.
So the anthocyanins in the blueberries are essentially, neutralizing that rust, like a rust-proofing spray.
That's a perfect analogy. They are the body's cleanup crew, and they're specifically targeting the degradation that's happening in the areas of the brain that handle our crucial quartet of functions.
And they can actually get into the brain. I thought there was a barrier.
There is, a very strong one. But what's fascinating is that these anthocyanins are small enough to cross the blood-brain barrier. It's a highly selective filter, but they get through.
Wow.
And once they're inside, they concentrate in the areas involved in intelligence and memory, most notably the hippocampus.
The hippocampus, that's the memory center, right?
Ground zero for memory. And they don't just protect the structural integrity of the neurons, they actually improve the signaling pathways, ensuring better, faster communication between brain cells.
Okay, that explains the second, more targeted claim from the source, protecting memory. If the hippocampus is where memory formation and retrieval happens, and we're sending specialized protection directly there, we're actively supporting the retention of all the new information you're trying to absorb.
It's memory insurance. That's what it is. For someone who relies on constant learning and retention, this benefit is paramount. It shifts the whole discussion from just general health to targeted cognitive resilience.
I love that. Memory insurance. So let's talk about the practical application, because knowing the science is one thing, but making it actionable, that's what this deep dive is all about. The source gave us 3 really simple ways to incorporate them.
And the beauty is the simplicity. You can pair them with yogurt, which is great. You can mix them with cereal or simply eat them by themselves as a quick snack.
So it's not complicated.
Not at all. The key takeaway here is consistency and quantity. Research suggests that the benefits are sustained, not acute.
Meaning you can't just eat a pint of them before an exam and expect a miracle.
Exactly. You need to incorporate them regularly. The fact that they are so versatile just makes that compliance easy.
You know, I often think of mixing them with a protein source, like that yogurt example. I assume that's because it slows down the absorption of the natural fruit sugars.
That's a very smart strategy.
It helps maintain that crucial, steady blood glucose level we were just talking about.
It does. You get the memory protection from the anthocyanins, and by pairing them with a protein or a healthy fat, you manage the overall energy release. You support focus at the same time.
So you're hitting 2 targets with 1 stone.
Exactly. It turns the brainberry into a powerful, sustained cognitive starter or, a perfect afternoon snack.
That's a powerful defense strategy. Okay, now let's move past protection and into the realm of high-performance fuel for the engine itself. Section 2 is all about the power of fats and focus. We're grouping nuts and fish together because they both provide these critical healthy fats. But we need to analyze how those fats serve slightly different cognitive goals based on what our sources say. Let's start with deep dive number 2. Nuts, specifically almonds and walnuts.
Okay, so with this, we are shifting the focus from defense against long-term damage to immediate optimized throughput.
Throughput, I like that.
The source defines the specific nutrient nuts provide as healthy fats. We really need to dedicate some time to analyzing what makes these fats healthy and why they are so essential for cognitive processing.
Because when people hear fats, they still often have these outdated associations of, slowing things down, clogging up the system. We need to define why these particular fats actually speed the brain up.
It really boils down to their structure. When the source refers to healthy fats, they're overwhelmingly talking about unsaturated fats.
Okay.
Specifically, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Contrast this with saturated or trans fats, which the body often just stores and can contribute to that feeling of sluggishness.
Right.
Unsaturated fats, especially the ones found in nuts, are easily metabolized, and they're utilized directly by the brain for energy and for cell maintenance.
And the promised outcomes from the source are very specific to high-demand performance. They say it helps you stay focused and think clearly.
That is the very definition of mental bandwidth utilization. If you're reading a complex report or you're trying to manage multiple variables in a meeting, focus and clarity are completely non-negotiable.
So how do the fats help with that?
The healthy fats in nuts are crucial for maintaining the myelin sheath.
The myelin sheath.
Yes, it's the fatty protective coating around your nerve fibers, and it facilitates rapid electrical signaling. Think of it as the insulation for an electrical cable.
Oh, that's a great visual.
Better insulation means faster, clearer signal transmission. It reduces the static in your head and allows for sustained, clear thought processes.
So if the neural signaling is fast and efficient, then the mental effort, the cognitive load that's required to process information actually decreases. And that's how we achieve focus and clarity at the same time.
Absolutely. A lack of clarity leads to processing inefficiency, and a loss of focus means you're just wasting mental effort and depleting your energy. By optimizing the neural pathways with these fats, the source suggests you can sustain that demanding, focused state for longer without feeling mentally drained.
For the listener who's constantly trying to synthesize new information, this is priceless.
It's a game changer.
And once again, the source makes this incredibly actionable by stressing moderation. It's not about eating a whole can of almonds.
No, and that constraint is critical. The source explicitly says even one small handful a day is helpful.
Just a handful.
That's it. We're talking about achieving optimal fuel input without overloading the system calorically. Because nuts are so energy dense, that small quantity is sufficient to deliver the necessary healthy fats, vitamin E, which is another powerful antioxidant, and magnesium, all of which contribute to nerve function and sustained energy release.
It removes any complexity. Just grab a handful, and you've improved your chances of maintaining crystal clear thought for the next few hours.
That's the idea. Simple and effective.
So, if nuts are about providing the scaffolding for immediate focus and clarity, let's move to what sounds like the ultimate structural building block: fish. The source specifies 3 examples: salmon, tuna, and sardines. And it points to a very specific class of fats.
Right. We've moved from just general healthy fats to the superstar essential fatty acids, omega-3s.
These omega-3s, everyone's heard of them.
Yes. They are the key structural components identified in these oily fish examples. And when we talk about omega-3s, we are specifically talking about DHA and EPA.
DHA and EPA. Okay.
Docosahexaenoic acid and icosapentaenoic acid.
Yeah.
But DHA and EPA is fine.
Yeah, let's stick with that. So how do we differentiate the role of these omega-3s from the healthy fats in nuts? They both contribute to the overall structure, but the source gives fish a slightly broader functional benefit.
The distinction lies in their primary function. While the fats in nuts are excellent for energy and that myelin maintenance we talked about, DHA in particular is an integral structural component of the brain itself.
So it's not just the insulation on the wire.
No, DHA makes up about 25% of the total fat content in the brain. It concentrates heavily in the membranes of your brain cells, your neurons.
It's the raw material for the wall of the cell itself.
Precisely. If you imagine the brain cell membrane, the omega-3s are what make that membrane fluid and flexible.
Okay, and why is a flexible membrane a good thing?
A flexible membrane means receptors work better. It means neurotransmitters can be released and received much more efficiently. This fluidity directly translates into enhanced cell-to-cell communication.
That perfectly explains the comprehensive benefits listed in the source material. It's not just a small improvement, it's systemic. First, it says it helps the brain work better generally.
Right.
Second, it makes it easier to think. And third, it makes it easier to study.
And that phrase, easier to think or easier to study, that is so significant for our learner. It implies a dramatic reduction in cognitive friction or load.
Cognitive friction.
Yes, if your neural communication pathways are highly efficient because the cell membranes are structurally optimized by DHA, the mental effort required to hold and process complex information just goes down. You're absorbing and synthesizing information with far less struggle.
I'm thinking of this as sort of like memory compression. You're able to handle larger file size, more complexity, and save it more quickly and accurately because the hardware has been optimized by these omega-3s.
That's an excellent analogy. And the EPA component is also important. It's linked more closely to anti-inflammatory benefits, which further protects the whole neural environment.
Oh, okay.
So oily fish gives you both structural optimization from the DHA and protection from the EPA. This is why the source really emphasizes fish for dedicated cognitive tasks like studying and intense thought processes.
So there's a synergy here. Nuts provide the immediate, high-quality, sustained energy for sharp focus in the moment.
Right, the tactical advantage.
While the omega-3s in fish are geared toward making the entire intellectual machinery work better overall, especially when you're facing these long-term, challenging mental tasks.
It's the ultimate 1-2 punch for a high-performance learner. One is tactical, the other is strategic. You need both the quick, clear focus and the structurally sound brain to handle the load.
We've established protection, structural integrity, and focus fuel. Now let's move on to section 3, and we're focusing on deep dive number 4, eggs. This is maybe the most strategic food on the list.
It's a powerhouse.
Yeah, because the source links it directly to both immediate energy and the complex machinery of learning itself.
Eggs are truly a dual nutrient solution, according to the source. They handle two distinct necessities that are just fundamental to daytime performance.
Which are?
The raw energy requirement, which comes from the protein, and the instructional support, which comes from the vitamins.
Okay, let's start with the instructional support. The source ties the vitamins in eggs directly to helping you learn and remember things. What specific vitamins are we talking about here? What's responsible for that targeted cognitive function?
This brings us to two crucial components that are often overlooked in eggs: choline and the B vitamins, particularly B6 and B12.
Choline. I've heard of that.
Choline is the real standout here. It's a precursor for the neurotransmitter acetylcholine.
Acetylcholine.
And that neurotransmitter is absolutely vital for memory and for muscle control. Acetylcholine is essentially the chemical messenger of learning and attention.
So if we're feeding the brain choline, we are quite literally manufacturing more of the chemical currency required for attention and memory formation.
That's a direct line.
A direct link to improved learning outcomes.
It's a critical rate-limiting step in the memory process. You cannot learn and remember efficiently if you don't have enough acetylcholine production. It's that simple.
And the B vitamins, what's their role?
They play a supporting but equally crucial role. They help regulate something called homocysteine levels, which, when they get too high, can be really detrimental to cognitive health. They also support the overall nervous system function and energy metabolism.
So we have the specialized task support, the vitamins handling the sophisticated processes of learning and remembering, and then we have the brute force requirement, protein. This is explicitly linked by the source to providing energy.
Right. The protein in eggs provides the raw, sustained power, but the mechanism is key.
How so?
Unlike simple carbohydrates, which give you that rapid spike and then a crash, the protein in eggs digests slowly. The slow digestion helps regulate your blood sugar levels.
And a steady blood sugar supply means?
A steady, uninterrupted supply of glucose to the brain. You avoid the dips and spikes that lead to that terrible feeling of mental burnout and focus loss.
That sustained energy release is what prevents the mid-morning slump.
The nemesis.
The nemesis of our high-performing learner.
Absolutely. You need the sustained energy to remain attentive long enough for the acetylcholine, that learning mechanism, to fully engage and consolidate the information. The energy sustains the process.
Which makes the discussion of strategic timing incredibly important. The source addresses this directly. It recommends eating eggs in the morning to help the brain wake up.
This is behavioral advice driven by biochemical necessity. The brain, when you wake up, it often needs to transition rapidly from this low-power resting mode to a high-performance learning mode.
And eggs help kickstart that.
By front-loading your day with eggs, you are ensuring two things. First, that immediate, steady protein energy to keep your blood sugar stable and your alertness high. And second, a rich dose of choline to prime the learning and memory circuits before the first meeting or study session even begins.
It sounds like a non-negotiable step for anyone who has a mentally demanding schedule.
I would argue it is.
So starting with eggs ensures you're nutritionally prepared for cognitive engagement right from the get-go, rather than, scrambling to catch up later when your energy stores are already depleted.
It's the difference between starting the day with a primed engine versus trying to jumpstart it on the freeway. This morning routine ensures sustained function, and it reduces the likelihood of compromise to those 4 core functions we started with: thinking, learning, remembering, and focusing.
We've built up a fantastic nutritional profile so far. We've covered resilience, structure, sustained energy, and learning support. Now for section 4, which I think provides the most pleasurable surprise in these sorts of lists.
Chuckles, the one everyone's waiting for.
Deep dive number 5, dark chocolate.
It's certainly the item that brings immediate joy to the process of optimization. The source acknowledges its feel-good factor, but is careful to attach very specific, measurable cognitive and emotional benefits to it.
So it's more than just a treat.
Much more.
Okay, let's detail that triple action benefit. Dark chocolate is cited as helping you feel 3 distinct things: happy, awake, and focused. That is a powerful combination for anyone hitting that late afternoon wall.
A very powerful combination. And the mechanism behind this triple benefit is tied to compounds called cocoflavanols.
Oh, no, okay.
Flavonols are another class of antioxidants. Like the anthocyanins in blueberries, they can cross the blood-brain barrier. They're particularly effective because they have a potent impact on your circulation.
So the magic isn't in the sugar or the fat content. It's about improving microcirculation.
Exactly. Flavonols promote the production of nitric oxide, which signals your blood vessels to relax and widen. This increased vasodilation means better blood flow to key brain areas, especially those related to planning, attention, and memory. That immediate increase in cerebral blood flow is what contributes directly to the feeling of being more awake and more focused.
You're getting an express delivery of oxygen and glucose right when you need it most.
That's it. A direct delivery.
That makes perfect sense for alertness and focus. But what about the happy factor? Is that just, in our heads because we like chocolate? Or is there a chemical component?
It's largely chemical, though the expectation certainly helps. Dark chocolate contains trace amounts of compounds that can stimulate neurotransmitters associated with well-being, like endorphins.
Okay.
Furthermore, the simple act of improving the overall brain environment through better blood flow creates a state that's conducive to cognitive ease, and that naturally elevates your mood and reduces frustration. It's a rapid physiological tune-up that enhances your emotional state so you can better tackle tasks.
So dark chocolate is presented as this rapid triple action tool. A physiological boost, so you feel awake and focused, combined with a necessary mood enhancement making you feel happy. It's the perfect pre-task or mid-task intervention.
It is, provided we adhere absolutely to the crucial caveat. This is the most important instruction regarding dark chocolate.
And what's that?
The source stresses that only a small piece is enough.
Moderation. We have to discuss this in detail, because if we're talking about enhancing focus, too much sugar or fat would just counteract the very benefit we're chasing.
It's a very tight balance. The flavonols are highly concentrated in the cocoa solids, which is why we must choose dark chocolate. We're talking typically 70% cocoa or higher, and you have to limit the quantity.
What happens if you overdo it?
If you overconsume, the high sugar content triggers an insulin spike, which is then followed by a rapid crash. That crash not only negates the alertness and focus benefits, but can plunge you into a worse state of mental fatigue than where you started.
So strategic consumption is mandatory here.
Absolutely. You're looking for the chemical benefit of the flavonols, not the calorie bomb of a massive dessert.
So the advice isn't permission to indulge. It's advice to strategically dose a powerful cognitive compound in its most palatable form. You get the mood boost and the focus without risking the energy stability we've worked so hard to build with the other items.
Precisely. It proves that even the most pleasurable item on the list requires adherence to precision and moderation to be an effective tool in a cognitive strategy.
We've covered structured fats, targeted vitamins, antioxidants, and a strategic mood booster. Now we come to section 5, the final, simplest, and arguably the most fundamental element of all. Deep dive number 6, water.
This section serves as such a powerful reminder that sometimes the most sophisticated machinery is utterly dependent on the most basic components. The source calls water very simple but absolutely necessary.
The fundamental, non-negotiable requirements.
For basic, efficient brain function, yes.
We know the brain consumes massive amounts of energy. But how does water relate to its operational effectiveness? What's the specific functionality link that makes it so indispensable?
Well, the brain is largely made of water, and water is the medium for literally every chemical reaction, every signaling event, and every nutrient transport system in the brain. It's the lubricant, the conductor, and the cleaner, all in one.
So even the neurotransmitters we talked about with eggs and chocolate, they need water.
They require water to be produced, to move, and to signal effectively. Everything does.
So if the brain needs water to work well and it's running constantly, then even slight dips in hydration must have an immediate noticeable impact on performance.
They do. Research shows that even mild dehydration, we're talking as little as a 1 or 2% drop in fluid levels, can impair cognitive function.
Wow, just 1 or 2%.
Yes. Think back to our 4 core functions. Thinking, learning, remembering, and focusing. Water impacts all of them by affecting your blood volume. If you're dehydrated, your blood volume drops, making it harder for your heart to pump oxygenated blood and essential glucose efficiently to the brain.
And the consequence of neglecting that is framed in the most practical terms for our listener. It says, if you do not drink enough, your brain gets tired.
That mental fatigue is the instant saboteur of peak cognitive performance. A tired brain struggles to maintain sustained attention, it struggles to retrieve memories, and it makes the entire learning process laborious and frustrating.
So the source connects insufficient water intake directly to that energy drain. Water management is actually a sophisticated energy management strategy.
It is. It connects directly back to that energy equation we started with. We talked about needing good food for sustained energy, but water is equally vital for the efficient delivery and use of that energy.
The finest fuel in the world means nothing if the transport system's compromised.
That's a perfect way to put it. Furthermore, dehydration can literally cause the brain to shrink slightly, temporarily. This changes the physical dynamics inside your skull, which can contribute to headaches and that feeling of mental fog.
And the solution is so simple.
Remarkably simple, yet so often overlooked.
So the actionable advice is basic, but essential, and it requires constant conscious maintenance. Try to drink water during the day.
It needs to be a constant process, not a crisis response when you're already thirsty. Keep a water bottle visible during meetings, study sessions, or while you're absorbing information. You're essentially providing continuous support to maintain the efficiency of every single system we've discussed, from acetylcholine signaling to blood flow. Ensuring the brain stays supple, oxygenated, and ready to perform those 4 continuous tasks without prematurely hitting the wall.
This has been a tremendously insightful exploration. We've managed to distill 6 incredibly simple, high-impact nutritional choices into a comprehensive, actionable strategy for maximizing cognitive output.
It really is a full strategy.
Yeah. We now understand not just what to eat, but why it works, right down to the cellular level.
We've established a concise, evidence-based brain menu. It's designed for both long-term maintenance and immediate high performance. Let's quickly run through the specific benefits one last time, just to reinforce that direct connection between the food and the functional enhancement.
Great idea. So we secured foundational maintenance with blueberries, the brain berries. Their anthocyanins fight that oxidative stress, the rust, ensuring memory protection and helping the brain stay strong for the long haul.
Then we fueled optimized focus with healthy fats. A small handful of nuts provides the unsaturated fats that are necessary for clear thinking and sustained focus. They do that by insulating and speeding up neural transmission.
And that was followed closely by the structural powerhouses, oily fish.
Right.
Their omega-3s, particularly DHA, optimize cell membrane fluidity. This makes the entire brain work better and specifically makes thinking and studying easier by reducing that cognitive friction.
Then we covered the strategic morning essential, eggs. The dual function is key here. Choline and B vitamins facilitate learning and remembering, while the protein provides the steady, sustained energy you need to keep the brain engaged and attentive all morning.
And the strategically deployed morale booster, dark chocolate.
That's the best one.
In small, controlled pieces, its flavanols increase cerebral blood flow, delivering that triple hit of feeling happy, awake, and focused precisely when you need it.
And finally, water. The simplest yet most critical dependency. It is necessary for efficient function, ensuring blood flow and chemical signaling, and preventing the energy drain and mental fatigue that sabotages learning.
The source material leaves us with a very straightforward call to action. It reinforces that we should try adding some of these 6 simple, high-impact foods to our daily routine. Because the ultimate reward is crystal clear. Your brain will thank you.
It will thank you by performing better, more consistently.
And that thank you translates directly into faster learning, more accurate recall, and longer periods of sustained attention. We've detailed the mechanisms of how these foods reduce the mental effort required for complex tasks.
They make hard things feel easier.
Exactly. So let's leave our listener with this final provocative thought, tying nutritional input directly to mental capacity. If these small, simple shifts, like deliberately having a handful of nuts before a challenging project, or ensuring you start the day with those choline-rich eggs, if they can fundamentally reduce the cognitive load and friction inherent in the learning process, what daunting intellectual task have you been putting off? Think about it. How could transforming your nutritional strategy based on these 6 pillars fundamentally change your preparation for that task? How could it make that difficult thing you face today or tomorrow feel significantly easier?
The fuel doesn't just power the journey, it defines the terrain.
Indeed. We look forward to seeing what you learn next with your newly optimized brain. Until then, keep digging deep.